Hey guys, what's going on? In light of the Ethan Lindbergh situation, if you guys don't know who that is, he's an 18-year-old boy that, or he's a man now, I guess, a person, adult, right, that went and got vaccinated against his mother's wishes, and he basically got vaccinated against his mother's wishes. So, but he's an adult, so he can do whatever he wants. You know, he's old enough of age. But the mainstream media just used his case as a kind of, way to like show that it's cool to get vaccinated, which was really sickening to me. And he was used to testify at some hearing in DC, where Robert F. Kennedy, who's had years of research on the adjuvants in vaccines causing all kinds of autoimmune disorders, was not allowed to testify. Hundreds of parents showed up with vaccine-injured children, and they basically just locked them in the basement and did not let them testify. They were free to leave, but they wouldn't let them upstairs, basically. And there's people that has taken videos showing all the parents that showed up to testify, and they wouldn't even let them in the room. But yet, this 18-year-old boy, who, according to his testimony, went on Reddit and found that vaccines are safe and effective. So I guess that I guess he knows everything. So I guess it's okay to go on the internet and find and make your own decisions when it supports vaccination, but you can't go on the internet and find stuff when that criticizes vaccination. I guess that's how that game works, right? The hypocrisy is astounding. Anyway, in light of the situation, I have some friends that have children that are beginning of that age and rebelling. And when you're like 16, maybe even younger than that, you think your parents are dumb and they don't really know anything. And I'm just looking at all this propaganda that is being aimed at students, and I'm not a parent, but as a teacher, it's one of the reasons I left, because I didn't want to be part of this propaganda. I would see, pro-vaccine propaganda in anything, even if it wasn't on the subject of science and vaccine, vaccines, they would find some way to insert how great vaccines are, just all throughout the literature, any literature I had to teach. And I didn't get to pick the literature, right? Lesson plans. I know specifically I was teaching a TOEFL course, and in the course they were basically talking about how it was an essay talking about how vaccines don't cause autism, and that parents are ridiculous and delusional for even thinking so. And then, added on top of that, you have teachers that influence, kids think that they're being cool and rebelling against their authority, but really they're exchanging their rebellion or their figure, their parental figure, for another authority figure, like a teacher, or even with groupthink, right? You have kids that will say stuff and make you feel stupid, maybe, and I'm sure that was part of the Ethan Lindbergh situation. Probably had social pressures, people telling him he was stupid and retarded for not getting vaccinated. But he wrote stuff on his page like, God knows how I'm alive. I'm like, yeah, you're alive, and so your other 6 siblings that didn't get vaccinated, dumbass. You're so stupid. I don't give a shit now. He's 18. I'm gonna call him the fuck I want. Like, what a dumbass. But and it's really just kind of like a slap in the mom's face that he would just maybe they had tensions and he did that out of spite. And then it seems like Gates Back Foundation got a hold of his story and then promoted it, and now so it's really got me thinking and talking with some of my other parents that I know. And even if you homeschool your kid, they're still going to come across this information, whether not information, I mean the propaganda, right? So even in these little fun fact videos, like Fake News Nerds, they're always putting in, I've watched this, I've had to watch it for some of the students I used to teach there, they always put in stuff like that, and conspiracy theories, and start talking to your kids now. I'm just saying, I know a couple couple of people too that this is impacting personally with their children, and they're being, even though you think you know what you know and you're protecting your kids from the propaganda, they're still going to be subject to it, whether it's on YouTube, because now they're putting this on YouTube videos in very sneaky, sophisticated ways, and it's really creepy. Like, you know, they'll have fun facts, and they'll have, you know, videos, or they'll have, you know, somebody that pretends to be cool, and, you know, like the you know, that is, you know, kind of rebellious against authority, but then they'll tell kids it's dumb to believe in conspiracy theories. So they're still kind of brainwashing them in this bully. I know there's I can't think of the exact fallacy, but it's kind of like a way, appeal to ridicule. I think that's the fallacy, where they, you know, make you feel stupid for even questioning authorities. Like, you can rebel against your parents, but you can't question the government or the mainstream media, you know. And you think of things like chemtrails, and I know I'm pissing people off, but they're real. And, you know, if you're older, you remember when there weren't chemtrails. So, you know, because I don't know, I used to look up a lot. So maybe some people, I know some people that are my age too, that still just like, oh, they're chemtrails. No, okay. Maybe you just didn't look up when you were older, but it's easier to convince the younger generations that chemtrails are not real, because, you know, they don't remember what it was like before they start spraying the sky with shit, you know. They don't remember what, you know, they hear about 9/11, but I was alive when it happened. I remember specific details about what happened. Some of the stuff they've scrubbed off of the internet, you know. Same thing with that place that should remain nameless, Candy Book, that we're not supposed to talk about, right? It's, you know, when you're alive during a situation, during a false flag or something, you have a very different opinion and a different reaction than somebody younger than you that just hears about it or reads about it in a book. So I would say, if you experience this stuff, if you know, like, all this stuff, GMO foods, you know, they're always like sneakily, I don't know if that's a word, brainwashing children with teenagers with propaganda, because, you know, they'll fall for it. Right now they have these tags in the bottom of the videos. Whenever any truther mentions this stuff, they have a Wikipedia link. So if you're not really that savvy, you know, and you can be still an intelligent teenager, but if you're not really that savvy, you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to click on Wikipedia. Like, I remember one of my students, I don't know, somebody brought up Anonymous, and I was like, oh yeah, you've heard of Anonymous? What are they? I just wanted to see what she had to say about them when she found out, and she was like, oh yeah, they're a hacker. They're like an infamous hacker group. I found it on Wikipedia. I was like, oh my God, you know? So, you know, and you know how Wikipedia game is played, that, you know, they pretend like they're the purveyors of truth and the ultimate source, but they manipulate stuff and rewrite history all the time. So you can't depend on them, you know? So you need to, I don't know, man. I mean, I'd be scared to death if I was a parent right now. I'm telling you, like, it's like, my hats and my love goes to you, because I think it has to be one of the hardest jobs, especially in this day and age when things are getting crazy. But I mean, if I had children, just knowing, you know, Sesame Street, all these cartoons, even when you think that you're giving your children, you know, the right information, I mean, you have to combat against the cartoons that they watch, against Sesame Street. You know, Sesame Street's normalizing autism. They have that Muppet, the autistic Muppet that they added a few years ago. And, you know, they're trying to teach kids to be tolerant. But, you know, are they going to show the Muppet when she's rubbing shit on her face, and when she's having meltdowns, and when she's biting herself or beating her head up against the wall? You know, until like bust open? No, they're not going to show that. They're not going to talk about why she's that way. You know, they're not going to talk about the divorce rate of the families, and the you know, the sibling rivalry that happens, and the guilt, and the parents that go insane, and, you know, and the burden that the parents feel that they're going to leave their children with, and how they feel like they fucked up and they'll never forgive themselves. They're not going to show that on Sesame Street. So I'm just saying, if I had a child, I would be, as soon as I could, I would be talking about in ways that they can understand how vaccines are bad, how chemtrails, how, you know, like propaganda, media manipulation, government control. And I also think too, this younger generation has trouble wrapping their head around why the government would be conspiratorial, and how it's happened in history. There are many examples of where it's happened in history, but if you're young and they're not teaching this stuff in school, they're not talking about it. So, you know, my dad, even when I was in school, my dad had to tell me some things which I kind of went over my head a little bit, but now they clicked, you know, about like how they manipulated certain situations for the Black Panthers, and how they put, you know, crack in the inner cities and stuff. They're not teaching that stuff in school, okay? They're not, you know, I just think that, you know, and it has nothing to do with how intelligent your child is, because I know lots of intelligent people, quote unquote intelligent people, that fall for this stuff, because they're, you know, and in a lot of ways, intelligent people are easily manipulated, because they're, you know, they've been told all their lives that they're intelligent, and they think that they're too stupid and they're too smart to fall for, you know, propaganda or being brainwashed. So, you know, you got to kind of explain to them how that works, you know, how search engines work, how people, you know, how the powers that be, you know, they, when you look for search term, they put it at the top, countering what you're actually trying to find, and the tags, and how, you know, how corporations, you know, fund research for, you know, to have certain outcomes to give them the benefit over the consumer, you know, i.e. vaccines, i.e. GMOs, i.e. you know, anything that is causing a problem, you know, how they manipulate information, how the media is, you know, bought by the corporations. They need to understand like how all of this works. And I think if you're a kid, you don't understand, because, you know, even my brother, who's an adult, he's younger than me though, we're not on good terms right now, you know, because he went to Berkeley and he has it in his head, you know, he told me, this is what he told me, he's just like, oh well, I'm smart, I can tell what fake news is because I went to Berkeley. I'm like, he fucking can't, you know. And I think a lot of people too, Ivy League situation, man, that's a whole nother video that needs to be done, and how people are brainwashed because they, you know, they have it in their head that they're better than everybody else, and that their education, you know, that they're done learning basically, and once they've had that education, there's nothing else that they can tell them, because you can tell them because they know everything. But, you know, I would tell them about, you know, I'll bring up a conspiracy or something that was proven to be real. They'd be like, oh yeah, that's just that one time. I'm like, are you serious? You're a fucking grown man, you think that? Okay. But, you know, there are people in, you know, in that state of mind that still have that, like, kind of, their development is arrested, where they're just so naive. And I'd say that he's an exceptionally intelligent person, but in a sense he's just so naive that he's easily manipulated, because he doesn't, you know, understand how deep it goes. And all I'm saying is, you start as soon as you can. As soon as your kid can talk, you try and start giving them those little, you know, those little fillers now and there, you know, and get them to really, like, have this information sink in, because the machine is so deep, it's so strong. And I think a lot of people are waking up, but, you know, a part of me kind of fears for the younger generation, because I see how they're so addicted to social media, and how they're so addicted to, you know, and this is, I mean, this comes with any industries, but they're addicted to, like, acceptance of their friends and groupthink, and that's what you're fighting against. And now they're censoring everything, and they're pulling all this stuff off of the internet. So even if they wanted to find some, you know, genuine evidence, it's really hard to now, or it's getting harder to. So I'm just saying, you know, make copies of all this stuff too that you have, videos or links or websites or any evidence that, you know, can support what you're trying to show them before they take it down. Because I think this whole censorship thing too is really going to target, like, the younger generation of kids more more harshly than people that are already woke. Because I just saw this article talking about a study that says that, you know, they know how to stop people from believing in conspiracy theories. I'm like, what? Like it's a hobby, okay? Or like it's like they're trying to make it out to be like a mental illness, or what do you call that? A deviation in society. When of course we know it's just a way to, like, you know, make people go back to sleep, or to shut people down from exposing them, because they're the real conspirators and they're the real liars. So anyway, I hope my rambling made some sort of sense. What does that smell? You guys can smell it. It smells like some chemical or something, but like some hair chemical. Not I don't know what that is. Not a hair chemical. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to get that off my chest today. And, you know, like I said, like, start doing it, because when they get 18, they're going to make their own decisions anyway. You at least want to give them the choice, and you at least want to give them informed consent, because they're not being given informed consent on any of this stuff. They're just being told what to think and how to think. So whether it's in school, whether it's in school, whether it's in you know, through the media and social media that they watch. So all right guys, talk to you later. Peace and love. Bye. Mwah.